Well, good afternoon. It's about 1:30 on Thursday, the 2nd of January. And what a memorable couple of days we've had here at the marina. Happy New Year to you once again. I did put a little vlog out, as you may have watched. New Year's Eve, we had a great night, so just take a look. Well, our little gathering started at 7 o'clock. Every ticket was sold, so it was a full house at the boathouse with lovely food prepared by Anne, Pat and Rob. Wonderful time with wonderful food. And talk of the devil, here's Anne giving me a thump on the way past. Well, the food was as excellent as ever, with a nice curry, a hot pot and a chilli with rice and chips. And there were other things there as well. Battered vegetables of all things, and they were beautiful. And then we all had cake. Oh, what can it be to us? And then the night started in earnest. Sandy and Marie were enjoying the music as ever. And of course, Lady Di joined in. Go on, Di. Yes, well, the night was getting off to a right swing, and the beer and the wine were flowing. Hello! But I couldn't help but notice that Nigel had got changed and got quite a swanky shirt on. Take a look at this. But then it was nearly midnight.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So, as you could see, we had a lovely night, and it was nice to meet Kev and Sandy, another Sandy, their new boat owners on their lovely little boat, Excalibur. Now, there is a tradition, an old canal custom, if you like, that says that if you cruise on New Year's Day, you will have a nice year cruising. So, it was inevitable. Before long, everybody started talking. Now, a lovely couple on their boat, Diane and Ron, they do it every year. But we all decided to join in. On that night, we decided, well, 13 of us decided that the next morning, nice and bright and early, that we would take our boats out. As it happens, 7 of us went, and unfortunately, 1 broke down. But we had a great day. Take a look. Yes, Sandy and I left our mooring about 10 past 10, and we could already hear other boats on the move. So we were keeping an eye out for them. Obviously, we were going to get a little bit congested here by the exit for Tatton Hall Marina. It was a freezing cold morning, but the forecast was for glorious sunshine later in the afternoon, so we were looking forward to it. Yes, it wasn't long before boats were spotted moving on the marina. And thank you very much to Kev and Marie off Snug as a Bug for doing this filming for me. I do appreciate it. And this boat you can see in the background, the light blue one, is Ron and Di's. It's Rainbow's End, and the bridge you can see coming in is Excalibur with Kev and Sandy on board. They're new boat owners. They've just got Excalibur back in the water after some time being out, having work done. A lovely young couple, so welcome to the family. Now, I did notice Kev knocked the revs off as he was making the turn. Always keep them revs on, Kev. It make the turn a lot easier.
Boat's called Excalibur. They're new boat. Right.
And now it's Ron and Di on Rainbow's End. A beautiful boat. This boat actually does have quite a story behind it, and one day I hope to share it on a vlog. But these two people are true diamonds. Beautiful people. Now, of our little flotilla, Ron and Di's boat was the longest. It's 70 foot long, but there's no problem for Ron on the tiller. He certainly knows what he's doing with this boat.
Man knows what he's doing behind the tiller. I've noticed it's a small boat, isn't it? Rainbow's End.
We'll see you down there both. Now along comes Simon on his boat. Simon is a qualified kitchen fitter, and indeed he's fitting out his boat now, and a very nice job he's doing of it too.
Who's this behind us? Who's that behind us?
Unfortunately though, when Simon was making the turn, the wind got hold of him a little bit and pushed him towards the far bank. But I think it's all right, Simon. Not many people saw you. Now, if you remember our launch day vlog, it was very dark when we came into Tattenhall Marina, and a lovely couple, Nigel and Jill, helped us along. They came with their torches and shined onto our pontoons so as we could get onto our moorings. So here come Nigel and Jill. You'll see Nigel just put the brakes on a little bit here, just to give Simon chance for him to get out of the way. And on this next boat, you can see Hilary and Malcolm. Malcolm being our continuous cruiser off Westmoreland. But today, they were both on Hilary's boat, as Hilary had her 3 dogs with her, and it was easier for the dogs to stay at home. And now a very familiar boat. I'm sure you recognise Chugabug, with Sandy and I on board. And of course, Chip and Dale. We had the fire lit just to make sure it was nice and warm on board, because it was a bit parky this morning. Sandy and I were very upset that unfortunately Kevin and Marie couldn't join us on our little trip today, but we do appreciate them taking these films for us. Thanks, folks. Now, Anne and Wayne were due to join us, but unfortunately her boat broke down. But maybe another day, Anne. She did get up there in their cars eventually, and then she had a nice cruise back on Chugabug. And then we were all on our way down the Shropshire Union, heading towards the Shady Oak. There's something quite nice about this coffee, Sandy, that you've made this morning.
I haven't got a clue what you're on about.
It's sort of warming. Very warming.
Nope, no idea. No different. No.
A boat coming the other way, I think.
We have. Happy New Year!
Happy New Year to you!
What's happening down there? Everyone's going that way.
We've got ourselves a convoy!
Yes, well, joking aside, it was a beautiful day for a cruise. The sun was starting to break through, and it was just starting to warm up a little bit. When we got to the Shady, I dropped Sandy off, and she was lucky enough to get these vintage tractors going over Bates Mill Bridge. I know our friend Brian would have loved to have seen it. I went to turn Chugabug round with Kevin on board.
if that isn't an English country scene, I don't know what is.
Yes, Sandy then went onto the bridge with the other Sandy just to film us coming back. And then she saw the real power machines of the canal. 2 horses were going over the bridge, and obviously that's where we get the saying horsepower, the original engines of the canal. So Kev and I had winded the boat and were on our way back, and then we were going to double moor against Rainbow's End, Ron and Di's boat.
The SAS.
And the SAS were Sandy and Sandy. Weather was surprisingly warm considering we're in the first day of January. It was a beautiful day. We stayed there for a good few hours. And Sandy prepared everybody bacon, sausage and mushroom sandwiches. Yes, so we were having a lovely time, lovely group there, round by Bates Mill Bridge there on the Shropshire Union. We all stayed there for a good few hours actually, had a couple of drinks, nice chat, it was really nice. And then something devastating happened. I was stood talking, I can't remember who I was talking to actually, but I had hold of Dale because it was starting to get a little bit cooler. So I tucked Dale in my coat, and then the next minute all I heard was Sandy screaming and shouting my name. And then she said, "Get Chip, get Chip." I thought, what on earth's going on? So I looked round and then I saw Chip running as best he could towards me. His ears were down. His tail was between his legs and he was cowering somewhat. I couldn't make out what was going on. I just thought perhaps, oh, he's run after a dog. Unfortunately then, it was then I noticed little clumps of hair, little clumps of white hair on the towpath. I picked him up. It turns out he'd been hurt. He actually did yelp a little bit. A gentleman with a very large dog had turned up unawares to me. I'm not blaming this gentleman, not by any means, and I'm not blaming his dog either, as Chip and Dale and Ron and Di's dog, Lady, were all off the lead because it was very quiet there. We were all keeping an eye on them and we were causing no harm. So I'm not blaming this gentleman or his dog at all, but this dog had obviously took a dislike to Chip, and unfortunately picked Chip up by the throat and the back of the head and picked him up in the air and threw him around a little. Sandy did witness this, and that's why she was shouting me, so obviously he was in quite a bit of pain. We took Chip on board Chuggabug. It was nice and warm on board, and obviously he was shaking, he was petrified. We checked him over for injuries. He had no actual puncture wounds and there was no blood showing on him apart from a little cut in his ear. But he appeared to be in a little bit of pain from around his neck. There was no blood or anything. We checked him. He was walking fine. So obviously we were very concerned. So we kept him in the boat, kept him nice and warm. And then shortly after, obviously, we came back. And obviously we ruined him. He slept that night. He had a relatively good sleep. He is walking around okay, no problem. So there's no spinal injury, there's no bones broken because he's walking fine. He's jumping up and down off the settee, super, no problem whatsoever. Everything is just as normal, but unfortunately when you touch the side of his neck, he's a little bit tender. So we think he's bruised. So what we're going to do, he's fine. He's in his little bed there. He doesn't want to come out at the moment. He is in there, so we're not forcing him to do anything at the moment. He has been out for a couple of walks, but unfortunately that it doesn't hurt him because I tried to put his harness on and I didn't even touch him and he yelped. He's just nervous about somebody touching him. So we're taking him out off the lead. So obviously we're keeping a very, very close eye on him. Don't worry, he is fine, and we are keeping an eye on him. We're going to give it 24 or 36 hours or so, see how he gets on. And then obviously if there's no improvement, we're going straight to the vets. But he's in good, he seems fine. He's eating and drinking. He's just a little bit tender. So yes, lesson learned. It was our fault. Again, not blaming that chap at all, but definitely a lesson learned. But who knows, even on the quietest of places, on the unlikeliest of days, things can happen. But all's good. It's not the way we wanted to start 2020, so let's hope it gets better than that. But don't worry too much. But thank you very much for sharing it all. It's been a wonderful year, and it's been lovely having you all with us. It has been good. All your comments and the likes on the videos. I have noticed, though, the subscribers haven't gone up very often. Obviously, we're not cruising as much as we'd like. And I suppose people like those cruising vlogs a lot more. But we will hopefully get Chuggabug out more this year, and that's what we're hoping for. But it has been good to have you all aboard for the ride. So thanks for joining us in 2019. And let's see what 2020 brings. Take care.